Hey everybody, and welcome to part 3 of our continuing coverage of the Most Wanted expansion for X-Wing. This is the starter box for the new Scum and Villainy faction. And in the first part of this series, I talked about Scum and Villainy as a whole and what it brings to the game. In part 2, I looked at all of the pilot cards in the box, which included pilots for the Z95, the Fire Spray, the Y-Wing, and the Hawk 290. And in this final part, I'm going to look at all of the upgrade cards. Now, I am doing something a little differently. I have not scripted out this episode because I don't want to spend too much time. I want to get this series done and move on to the 3 single ship expansions that came out in Wave 6. So I apologize in advance if this is not as smooth as some of the other videos, but let's get right through this. There are 19 upgrade cards. There's duplicates of a few of them, but that's a lot of upgrades to get through. So we're going to start with the Auto Blaster turret. Now, we've seen the Auto Blaster before as a cannon. This is pretty similar. It rolls 1 fewer attack die. It makes an attack at range 1 and cannot cancel your regular hits with defense dice, although the defender can still cancel critical results before normal results in this case. So this is interesting. I feel like it's priced pretty well. 2 points is cheap. Non-cancelable dice, always good. But the range 1 really kind of hurts it, although this does have good synergy with Cavill. You might remember is the Y-Wing pilot who rolls an additional attack die when he's attacking a target outside of his arc. So that works well with him. That probably makes this his turret of choice. And you get 2 copies of this one. All right, next up is our first Scum-only crew member. He is the K4 security droid. He gives you a target lock after you execute a green maneuver. And this is not an action. It's not a target lock action, which is significant. It means if you have stress or can't perform an action for some reason, you can still take this because it just gives you the target lock. And extra actions in this game are always great. So anything that gives you target locks, focus, evade tokens, anything like that, in addition to your normal action, definitely very good. I can see lots of applications for this guy. Especially on the fire sprays. All right, moving on. We have Greedo. First time he's appeared in this game. Maybe the only time. I don't think that Greedo was known as a particularly ace fighter pilot. All he was really known for was being a very poor shot and unwisely antagonizing smugglers in shady cantinas. But anyways, Greedo costs a single point. He's got a very double-edged ability. The first time you make an attack each round, and also the first time you defend each round, the first damage card that gets dealt is dealt face up. So this is especially scary if you are shooting at anything without shields for the defenders, so TIE fighters, TIE interceptors. Any hit that lands, that card's coming face up. I think that Greedo's going to work well on fire sprays because they've got some decent shielding, but as soon as your shields are gone, he becomes a real liability on your ship because you're going to start taking those face-up cards as well. So it'll be interesting to see if the Scum faction gets a card like Moth Jerjerrod on the Imperial side, which is a crew card that lets you discard other crew members. If there's some way to get Greedo off of your ship before he starts dealing damage to you, it'll make him a little more useful, although I think at one point, if he can help you eat through a TIE swarm or do some significant critical hits before he turns on you, he's probably worth it for that single point, and he could be a lot of fun. Boba Fett and Greedo in the Slave One, I could see that being a good time. All right, we've got a limited Scum-only crew, the Outlaw Tech. Now, limited means you can only have one of these per ship, although you can have multiple copies in your squadron. He is a Jawa, as you can see in the picture, which is pretty funny. Jawa is also not known for particularly being out there in space on ships. When you make a red maneuver with this guy, you can assign a focus token to your ship. Now, that's really cool, too. Like I said, anything that gives you focus, target locks. This is also like the K4 security droid's target lock. This is not an action. It's just a free focus token. So very cool. All right, moving along. We've got a Y-Wing only limited card. Now, I think I said in the last video that the Y-Wings have 2 title cards in this expansion, and that was not true. I keep thinking this is a title card because it is Y-wing only, but this is actually a torpedo upgrade. It costs 0 points, and what it does is it turns your torpedo slot into a bomb slot, so your Y-wing can carry a bomb. And it's limited, so you can only do that once per Y-wing. So Y-wings can become bombers now, give them a little more flexibility, a little more customization. Not sure I love this, but it's free and it might be kind of fun to play around with. There are some good, powerful bombs in the game. And there are 2 copies of this card in this box. Okay, now we're going to get into the salvaged Astromech. This is a upgrade type that currently is only usable on Scum faction Y-wings. No other ship in their faction can take an Astromech. And it's different from the Rebel Astromech icon, so these droids are not interchangeable between the 2 factions. So R4B11 is a unique salvaged Astromech. He costs 3 points, and when you're making an attack, if you have a target lock on the defender, you can spend it to choose any or all of their defense dice and force them to re-roll the dice you have chosen. And of course, in X-Wing, not used a whole lot, but this is a rule that the attacker gets to re-roll defense dice before the defender gets any re-rolls. And of course, you can only re-roll a die 1 time, so if you force them to re-roll their dice, they can't do anything that would re-roll them back. Although they can still make modifications like focus, that sort of thing. So interesting ability. I think it's kind of funny that this droid in the artwork clearly has cannons equipped on him. I think Fantasy Flight might have missed an opportunity to make him an attack header, sort of a Astromech turret or something like that. But anyways, not a bad ability. Kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to watch this card and see if it gets any play or not. I think it's a little expensive maybe for what it does. And rerolls are always, very random, of course. Okay, next up we have another unique salvaged Astromech. Genius. His name is in quotations because I'm pretty sure they named him ironically, and you're going to see why. His ability is if you have a bomb that can be dropped before you reveal your maneuver, which is all bombs currently in the game, you can instead choose to drop the bomb after you execute your maneuver. Genius costs 0 points, and I'm pretty sure they call him Genius because dropping your bomb after you move, unless you have boost to get out of range, that bomb is going to hit your ship as well. So not the smartest Astromech, not the greatest ability, but if you put engine upgrade on a ship, this definitely makes you much more unpredictable as a bomber. Of course, the Y-Wings now can take a bomb, so this is what you would have to have because Genius can only ride in a Y-Wing right now. But that will make where you will put your bombs much more unpredictable since your opponent won't know where you're going. You can move, drop the bomb, and then boost away and still be safe, and also hopefully deliver the bomb in a much more interesting location to hit multiple enemies or a key enemy. So an interesting card. It's interesting that it's 0 points, and so is Bomb Loadout. So Genius and Bomb Loadout are both free on your Y-Wing, and then all you got to do is pick a bomb and make this little combo work. All right, next up we have 2 copies of the R4 Agromech, a 2-point Astromech. When attacking, when you spend a focus token, you can acquire a target lock on the defender. This is interesting, another free target lock with the caveat that you have to spend a focus token. This has good synergy with the title card for the Y-Wing that's coming up that lets you attack twice in the same turn. So keep that in mind when we get to that. All right, next up we have 2 copies of the redundantly named Salvaged Astromech, who is, of course, a Salvaged Astromech upgrade. And he will take a hit for you, which is pretty cool. He's 2 points. When you are dealt a damage card with the ship trait, you immediately discard it without resolving its effect. Then you discard Salvaged Astromech. So he'll take a direct hit for you, which is very cool. Give your Y-Wings a little more survivability. That's always good. 2 points, pretty cheap. I can see this guy riding in some Scum Y-Wings. And Unhinged Astromech. 1 point, you get 2 copies of this guy. Lets you treat all 3 speed maneuvers as green maneuvers. This is good because the Y-Wing's 3 speed turns are red. So it gives you a little more easy maneuverability for your Y-Wing Definitely not a bad droid. And 1 point, very good. Okay, next up we've got the single illicit upgrade in this expansion. And this is kind of an odd thing as far as I'm concerned. There are 2 new types of upgrade in Scum and Villainy, illicit and salvaged astromech. So for something that's kind of a big deal, this new illicit upgrade, and so many of the ships in this box can use these upgrade types. I mean, almost all of them, really. There are so many ships, pilots that can use these. To have a single copy, and a single card in this box seems a little cheap. I mean, I know they want you to buy the other ships in Wave 6, and you'll get some more illicit upgrades, but there's really only a handful of them. But this is a good one. This is one of the best, I think. It's a fun upgrade. It's a secondary weapon, Hot Shot Blaster. Costs 3 points. Lets you discard it to make an attack with 3 dice at ranges 1 to 2. And you can attack like it was a turret. So basically a one-shot turret weapon, ranges 1 and 2. This is really good on the Z95 pilot that we talked about in the last part. I forgot his name. Zadru, I think. He's the one that rolls an extra dice on his attacks when he doesn't have friendly ships around. So he would roll 4 dice anywhere in a 360-degree arc. Kind of a nice little thematic. I like the picture shows a panel popping off of the front of a ship with a big gun firing out of it. Very cool. Be interesting to see where and then what ships we see this upgrade appearing in competitive play. Okay, lastly we have 2 title cards in this box. The first is for the Y-Wing, the BTL A4 Y-Wing. Y-Wing only, of course, and it costs 0 points. It turns off your ability to attack ships outside your firing arc with your turret, but after you perform a primary weapon attack, you can immediately perform an attack with a turret secondary weapon. So firing only from your forward-facing standard arc, but now Y-Wings have the option of making 2 attacks in a single combat round, which is pretty cool. And this could be a bit of a game changer, at least give the Y-Wings a little more punch on their attacks. So this is nice. I like it. There's some good turrets in the game. Definitely not one that you're going to probably want to put on Cavill, because he is the Y-Wing pilot, of course, whose ability relies on him firing on targets outside of his arc, which of course he can't do with this title, but any other Y-Wing pilot, I think, get a benefit from this. All right, and finally we have Iman Azamine's Fire Spray, the Andrasta. This is, of course, a Fire Spray 31 only title. Costs 0 points, which is very interesting because it doesn't take anything away from the ship, and it adds 2 additional bomb upgrade icons to your upgrade bar. So for no points, you can load up to 3 bombs. And of course, Iman Azamine is the Fire Spray pilot who can throw bombs all over the place willy-nilly using the 3-speed turn templates and straight templates. So now he has the option of having 3 bombs to play around with. And that, I think, would be a lot of fun. So, okay, there are all of the upgrade expansion cards in Most Wanted. Very interesting collection of cards here. I think, like I said, it's kind of odd that there weren't more illicit upgrades, but there's some really good stuff in here, and it definitely will give you a good start to putting together your Scum and Villainy squadrons. Okay, check back with us. We will be jumping into the 3 ship expansions from Wave 6 in the very near future. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.